It starts on a morning so ordinary it feels almost insulting, like the universe chose blandness as the backdrop for the moment everything inside me began to misalign. The office lights flicker with the same anemic hum, the elevator mirrors hold the same empty metallic stare, and yet, something in the air feels off, a pressure I can't name. Maybe it's only me who's off. Maybe it's been building for longer than I'm willing to admit. I step into the hallway, and I see the memo taped to every door. New uniform policy. Mandatory effective immediately. At first, the words don't register. I blink at them like they're another dull announcement about printer etiquette or hallway noise. But then the second line catches me like a hook. Skirt and blouse required for all front-facing staff, regardless of gender. My stomach drops. I laugh under my breath because it must be a joke. Has to be. But the office doesn't laugh. People walk past stiffly, murmuring, avoiding eye contact. No one looks confused. Only I do. Only I feel the world beginning to tilt, slowly, gently, like someone turning a picture frame that's hung crooked for years without anyone noticing. My boss calls me in before I even have time to gather myself. Her office smells like lilacs, like always, a scent too delicate for conversations that feel heavy. She doesn't even sit. She just stands, hands folded, and tells me that this is happening, that it isn't negotiable, that the company is rebranding and everyone will conform to the image. But, I start to say, and she raises a hand, not unkindly, but firmly, like she's pressing pause on my voice. It's not about masculinity or femininity, she says. It's about unity. Image. A clean slate. Clean slate. For who? For what? My thoughts turn to static. My mind becomes a room where someone's rearranging the furniture without warning. There's no space to protest. No space to breathe. She hands me a sealed bag with a uniform inside. Black A-line skirt, pale ivory blouse, tights the color of mist, shoes with a strange gentle heel I've never stood on before. I hold the bag like a fragile animal that might bite. Walking back to my desk, the world feels too loud. Every keyboard clack is a hammer. Every whisper feels like it's slicing open the air. I sit, but the chair feels unfamiliar, like the floor beneath it moved half an inch without telling me. I don't open the bag for hours. I don't want to see what accepting looks like. But the moment comes, quiet, unavoidable, when there's no one left in the office and the overhead lights dim to their nighttime hum. Peel the seal open. Pull out the fabric. The skirt feels impossibly soft, too soft for my calloused hands. The blouse is weightless, delicate, a sigh made of thread. The tights shimmer faintly, like they're holding a secret. I whisper, "Why me?" But the empty office doesn't answer. It's not that I hate the idea. It's that I don't know what the idea means for me. What it touches, what it threatens, what it awakens. The fear isn't about clothing. It's about the reflection I might see once it's on. The fabric sits in my lap like a question I'm not ready to answer. I carry the uniform home, and it feels heavier than it should. Like it's pulling something out of me. Like it's rewriting shapes inside my ribs. Every step echoes with a thought I don't want to think. What if this is more than a uniform? What if this is something I've avoided feeling? That night, I lay awake with the bag on the chair across the room. It stares at me in the dark, a silent mirror reflecting nothing and everything at once. I turn away from it, but I still feel its presence, like a whisper grazing the back of my neck. I dream of reflections that don't match my face. I dream of silhouettes merging and splitting like ink in water. I dream of a voice, my own voice, calling me from somewhere I've never been, somewhere soft, somewhere unfamiliar. And when I wake, the boundary between dream and reality feels thinner than it should. The uniform waits. And I don't yet know whether I fear it, or whether something in me is quietly reaching for it. Morning arrives too quickly, like the sun is impatient with me. I sit on the edge of my bed staring at the uniform folded across the chair, the fabric catching soft light like it knows something I don't. There's a strange calm inside me, the kind that sits just under panic, like a coin flipped in the air, suspended between sides. I tell myself it's just clothing, just fabric, nothing more. But when I finally stand, finally reach for it, something inside my chest tightens. My fingers shake as I pick up the blouse. It feels impossibly smooth, impossibly light, like it's made from someone else's expectations. Putting it on is harder than I expect. Not physically. Physically it slides over me like water, but mentally, emotionally something shifts. The collar brushes my neck and I inhale sharply. The sleeves settle on my arms and I feel the weight of their softness. It's subtle, almost imperceptible, but real. Like a whisper forming words I can't yet hear. The skirt feels foreign in my hands. My breath hitches as I step into it. The fabric sways around my legs. Brushing against skin I realize I've never really felt before. The tights cling smoothly, creating a second skin that hides and reveals at the same time. The shoes lift me slightly, tilting the world by a degree that shouldn't matter but somehow does. When I stand, fully dressed, there's a pause in the universe. A moment where everything balances on the edge of a breath. I walk to the mirror. My heart stutters. The reflection is me, but not me, yet also so undeniably me that I feel the ground tilt. My face looks the same, but framed differently. My posture shifts without permission, softer somehow. My eyes look startled, searching, like two creatures caught in the sudden light. I don't look like a woman. I don't look like the man I've always known. I look like someone in between, someone undefined, someone unfinished. And for the first time, unfinished doesn't feel like a flaw. Feels like an open door. Touch the mirror. My fingertips leave faint smudges. The reflection touches back with identical uncertainty. There's something tender in that moment, like meeting a stranger who feels inexplicably familiar. I whisper, "Is this really me?" The reflection doesn't answer, but the silence feels encouraging rather than condemning. The commute to work is surreal. Every step feels exaggerated. The skirt sways with motion I can't hide. The tights whisper against themselves. The shoes click softly against the pavement. My body moves differently, subtly, like it's discovering new rules it never knew it had. People glance at me, but not with cruelty. More with curiosity, confusion, neutrality. It's strangely relieving and terrifying at once. It makes the world feel bigger, full of possible interpretations of me I hadn't considered. When I step into the office, everything feels sharper. My boss nods approvingly, but not patronizingly. "Looks good," she says. But her tone isn't about fashion. It's about acceptance, compliance, belonging. I nod back, unable to form words. Throughout the morning, I find myself distracted by the sensation of clothing against my body. The skirt brushing my thighs when I sit. The gentle stretch of the tights when I move. The blouse shifting with my breath. Sensations I've never registered before become amplified, like the volume on my awareness has been turned up. But the strangest part is how these sensations don't feel wrong. They don't feel humiliating or unnatural or out of place. They feel grounding. Unsettling, yes, but grounding. As the hours pass, I catch my reflection in window panes and monitor screens. Each time I pause for half a second longer. Each time the person looking back seems less foreign, less like a costume, more like a version of myself I've been unknowingly avoiding. At lunch I sit alone, stirring my food without eating. My mind is loud, too loud. Thoughts swirl like leaves trapped in a vortex. Why does this feel like something I needed? Why does this feel safe? Why does this feel like opening my eyes after a long sleep? I rest my head in my hands and let the confusion wash over me. It's not the uniform itself. It's what the uniform unlocks. What it allows me to see. What it forces me to confront. Walking home that evening, I feel strangely reluctant to take it off. The skirt sways. The blouse rustles softly. The tights slide with a smoothness that sends a shiver up my spine. My reflection in passing windows follows me like a companion I'm slowly learning to trust. Back home I stand in front of the mirror again. I should undress, but I don't. Instead I study myself. I tilt my head. I soften my shoulders. I experiment with shapes I never thought to try. The person in the mirror looks calm. Not fully sure. Not fully transformed, but calm like a storm has paused. And for the first time I ask the reflection, not fearfully, but with genuine, fragile curiosity. What else are you trying to show me? The reflection seems to breathe with me, as if ready for whatever comes next. The next morning, the comfort I felt the night before dissolves into something tighter, harsher. I wake up with a knot in my stomach, a twisting pressure like something inside me is arguing with itself before I'm even fully conscious. The uniform is draped over the chair again, waiting, gentle in its stillness, but my mind is anything but gentle. I stare at it and feel two opposite instincts collide, one reaching, one retreating. I hate the feeling of wanting something I don't understand. I hate the thought that yesterday felt good, comfortable, too comfortable, like something slipped past a wall I didn't know I'd built. I dress slower this time. My hands hesitate on every step. The tights feel tighter though I know they aren't. The blouse feels clingier. The skirt feels shorter. Nothing is different but my mind is louder now. Every sensation feels magnified through the lens of doubt. As I button the blouse, I hear a voice in my head. My own voice, but sharpened, hardened, a version of myself that clings to old definitions like they're shields. What are you doing? This isn't you. You're embarrassing yourself. Stop this before it becomes something you can't undo. The words sting because they feel familiar, like something I've told myself before about other things. Feelings I never let surface. Curiosities I always shut down before they could bloom into something threatening. The mirror reflects someone softer than I ever let myself be. Someone uncertain but open. And the voice inside me snarls like it's threatened. I look away. The commute feels different today. Every step in the skirt feels like exposing something fragile. People glance the same way they did yesterday. But today I feel flayed open by their curiosity. I imagine judgment where there is none. I imagine laughter behind neutral expressions. My thoughts twist every glance into an attack. By the time I reach the office, I'm trembling slightly. My boss compliments the neatness of my uniform again, but the words feel sharp today, like they cut into the thin barrier between my composure and the panic simmering underneath. All morning I can't focus. My legs cross themselves automatically when I sit, and that small unconscious movement sends a jolt through me. A soft gesture that feels natural, intuitive, and somehow dangerous. The inner voice mocks me. See, look at you. You're changing already. And you're letting it happen. I shake my head, trying to silence it, but the conflict only intensifies as the day drags on. Every time I catch my reflection, even briefly, the same battle erupts. One part of me softens, curious, drawn to the unfamiliar peace in that mirrored face. The other part rears back, terrified, insisting the peace is a trap. At lunch, a coworker sits beside me without asking. She smiles, complimenting the way the blouse suits my shoulders, and something inside me twists painfully. Compliments shouldn't hurt, but they do when you're split in two. I stammer something, barely coherent, and she tilts her head. You all right? She asks gently. I nod too fast. Just tired, I mutter. But that's not it. I'm not tired. I'm unraveling. Walking home, the conflict becomes a physical ache. The skirt sways around my legs, and instead of comfort, I feel contradiction. Part of me wants the sensation to stop. Part of me clings to it, terrified of losing it. The world feels heavier. My thoughts feel jagged. By the time I reach my apartment, I'm shaking. Inside, the silence feels suffocating. I stand in front of the mirror again, unable to avoid it, unable to look away once my eyes lock onto my reflection. The reflection looks hurt. Like someone caught between two doors, unable to step through either. I whisper, "What's wrong with me?" The reflection says nothing, but something in its eyes softens like sympathy. Frustration boils up suddenly, violently. I pull at the blouse, unbuttoning it too fast, too roughly. I yank off the skirt, tossing it onto the bed. I peel off the tights with shaking fingers. I stand in my room wearing only my shame and confusion, breathing hard. But when I look in the mirror again, Bare, stripped, raw, something inside me collapses. Because without the uniform, feel emptier, incomplete, wrong in a way I can't explain. My throat tightens. Emotion burns behind my eyes. But it's not about the clothes. Never was. It's about the crack in the armor I've always worn. The door the uniform opened without my consent. The truth leaking through a place I've never allowed vulnerability. I whisper. Why did it feel right? The reflection stares back like it's asking the same question of me. That night is long, restless. Pace the room. I sit on the floor. I bury my face in my hands. I alternately reach for the skirt and push it away. The conflict becomes a storm inside my chest. Thunderous, relentless, tearing through me. Thoughts loop in circles. Who am I becoming? Why does this matter so much? Why does a piece of clothing feel like a key to something I'm scared to open? Why do I feel like two people fighting to breathe in the same body? I don't sleep. Barely breathe. And when dawn comes, I'm left with the uniform spread across the bed like a question that refuses to go unanswered. A question that feels like it's transforming from fear into a need. The morning after the sleepless night feels unreal, like the world has softened around the edges, blurred just enough to make everything feel unstable. I sit on the floor beside the bed, knees pulled to my chest, staring at the uniform where it lies like a quiet invitation, or a challenge, or a mirror reflecting something I keep pretending not to see. My eyes burn from exhaustion, but beneath the fatigue is something else, something quieter, steadier, pulsing under the chaos. A weight that feels like truth. I reach out and touch the skirt with trembling fingers, expecting to feel fear, and I do. But layered beneath it is something warmer, like recognition. I whisper, barely audible. I can't keep fighting myself. The words fall into the room, soft but irreversible. I lift the skirt. The fabric feels different today. Not threatening, not overwhelming. Just present, waiting. I run my thumb along the hem, tracing it slowly, like I'm memorizing its softness. I pick up the tights next, feeling their smooth elasticity. Then the blouse, its pale threads catching the early light. And even though my hands shake, they aren't shaking from dread anymore. As I step into the skirt, a strange calm settles over me. Not comfort, at least not yet, but acceptance. Or the beginning of it. The tights slide up my legs like a second skin, and instead of flinching from the sensation, I close my eyes and breathe. I let myself feel it without judgment. The blouse settles across my shoulders, and this time, the soft drape feels grounding rather than alien. When I stand in front of the mirror, I swallow hard. The reflection is the same as yesterday, but I am not. I look older and younger at once, like someone shedding years of pretending. The reflection tilts its head as I do, and for the first time, the movement feels synchronized. Not strained, not foreign. Feels like seeing myself after a long time apart. Hi, I say quietly to the person in the glass. Feels strange. Feels right. I study my posture. Soften it. My reflection follows. We are no longer fighting. The walk to work feels different too. The skirt sways, but my breath doesn't hitch this time. The tights brush softly, but the sound no longer feels accusatory. The shoes lift me slightly, but instead of throwing me off balance, the height steadies me, reminding me of each step, each intention. People glance the same way they always have, but it doesn't pierce me today. Their eyes don't feel like threats. They feel like observations. Neutral. Passing. Without the weight of imagined judgment, the world feels lighter, wider, more forgiving. At the office, my boss greets me with a smile. Not approving, not assessing, just warm. Looks like you're settling into it, she says, and something unexpected happens. I smile back. A real smile, small but steady. I move through the day with a newfound awareness. I catch my reflection multiple times, and each time, something inside me softens instead of recoiling. I adjust the collar of my blouse without thinking. I smooth the skirt when I sit. Small, instinctive gestures that feel natural in a way I can't fully explain. At lunch, the same coworker sits beside me again. She comments on how relaxed I look, how well the uniform suits me. This time her words don't slice, they settle. Thank her. My voice doesn't wobble. The internal voice that mocked me before is quieter today, like its power is fading, like it was made of fear and fear is dissolving. But the real transformation doesn't strike until evening. Walking home, dusk wraps the city in a soft, muted glow. I pass a store window. Just another glass pane, nothing special. And yet when I glimpse my silhouette in it, I stop. Something inside me cracks open gently. I see myself framed by fading light, skirt moving in the breeze, blouse catching traces of orange sky, and my heart aches, not in conflict this time, but in revelation. Because that person, that shape, that presence, feels like someone I've been waiting for. A version of me that isn't pretending, isn't fighting, isn't afraid. I press my palm to the glass. My reflection meets me without hesitation. And in that quiet moment, in that dimming streetlight glow, I feel an understanding unfurl inside my chest. Slow, careful, sacred. This isn't about a uniform. This isn't about my boss. This isn't about rules or expectations. This is about me. Who I am when no one is watching. Who I am when my reflection and I stop battling and start listening. I walk the rest of the way home with a strange lightness in my steps. A quiet certainty blooming where anxiety once lived. Every soft sway of the skirt feels like a conversation. Every whisper of fabric against skin feels like permission. Back in my room, I stand before the mirror again. I lift my chin. Breathe. Thank you, I whisper, to the reflection, to the uniform, to the part of myself that needed this even when I didn't understand why. My reflection smiles softly, and I feel the world shift. Not violently, not dramatically, but profoundly. The transformation isn't complete. It isn't supposed to be. But tonight, I sleep with the skirt gently folded beside me, not like a question, but like a promise. Morning light filters through the curtains like a quiet invitation, soft and warm, brushing over my face before I even open my eyes. For the first time in days, maybe longer, I wake without that crushing pressure in my chest. Instead, there's a sense of stillness, a gentle hum under my ribs, like something inside me has finally found the right rhythm. I sit up slowly, letting the moment stretch. The uniform lies folded neatly at the foot of the bed, and when my eyes land on it, I don't feel fear or conflict or hesitation. I feel a calm recognition, a sense of alignment that doesn't need to be forced. I rise and walk toward it without thinking, movements mellow and unhurried. The tights slip over my legs like they were meant to be there. The skirt settles around my hips with a familiar weight, and the blouse drapes over my shoulders like a quiet embrace. There's no trembling in my hands this time. No internal battle clawing at my confidence. Just breath steady and full. When I stand before the mirror, something inside me exhales. There I am. Finally. Fully. The reflection meets my gaze with a softness that used to disappear under layers of doubt. The eyes staring back at me hold a depth I hadn't seen before. Something tender, something assured, something quietly proud. I tilt my head, and the reflection tilts too, but it doesn't feel like mimicry. Feels like harmony. Like we're one being moving in sync, after so long feeling divided. I whisper, "Hi," and the sound isn't question or confusion, it's greeting. It's acceptance. The walk to work is different today in a way that feels almost sacred. The world hasn't changed, but the air feels lighter because I'm no longer pushing against it. The skirt brushes my legs with every step, and instead of heightening my awareness of the world's gaze, it deepens my awareness of myself. My breath syncs with the sway of the fabric. My posture aligns itself without conscious effort. Feel whole. At the office, my co-workers greet me with familiarity, not surprise. My boss smiles. Not a testing smile, not a measuring smile, but something warm, something human. "You look comfortable," she says kindly, and she's right. But it isn't the clothing that makes me comfortable. It's me. It's who I've let myself become inside of it. During lunch, I catch my reflection in the faint sheen of a window. Some part of me still expects to flinch, to find something jarring or dissonant. But instead I just see myself. integrated, balanced. A person who has stopped treating their reflection as a stranger or an enemy. A person who has stopped apologizing for existing. When the workday ends and I step out into the fading light of evening, the sky is painted in soft pinks and blues that blend seamlessly, no sharp edges. A gentle gradient, peaceful and fluid. I stand on the sidewalk for a moment, feeling the breeze lift the hem of my skirt, feeling the coolness of the air against my cheeks. Feels like the world is breathing with me. On the walk home, my mind drifts back over everything. The fear, the confusion, the conflict, the quiet breakthroughs. I remember every moment I resisted myself, every moment I softened, every moment I fought to understand what was awakening inside me. And now, all those pieces fit together like a mosaic. Fractured, beautiful, complete only when every shard is included. By the time I reach my apartment, a calm certainty has settled inside me. I step into my room and face the mirror one more time, not out of fear or validation, but out of gratitude. The reflection smiles, my smile soft and sure. I reach out and touch the glass. My reflection meets me halfway. "I see you," I whisper. And for the first time in my life, the reflection seems to say, "I see you too." There is no victory here, no dramatic transformation scene, no sudden reinvention. Instead, there is harmony. Quiet, steady, real. A unity between the self I've always been and the self I'm finally allowing myself to be. As I step back from the mirror, I feel grounded, present, aligned. The uniform doesn't define me, but it revealed me. Not a new version, but the truest one. And now, reflection and reality walk together, side by side. No longer opponents, but partners. Whole. Peace.